Hi, my name's Simon Jones and I'm back with another First 5 Minutes video. Back in February 2016 I had a look at Gunpoint, which was the first game from Tom Francis. He's now back with Heat Signature, his latest game, which has taken a while, and it is rather good, and it's also massively more ambitious than his previous one. So here we have Heat Signature. I'm going to take a look at the start of the game by replaying the tutorial. And as usual, I will just take a look at the first 5 minutes of the game to see how effectively it does what it's doing. And I only start the clock once we get to a point where we can actually properly start interacting. Now, I'm not going to count clicking through these dialogue trees. That doesn't quite seem fair. So, we kick off with someone flying through space. We have no idea how it's going. This is kind of a theme, it seems, for Tom Francis. Gunpoint started off with this kind of looping narrative that made absolutely no sense at first, but was highly amusing, and then you gradually piece together what on earth's going on. So here we go, we're straight in. Only a few seconds in, and we already have control, and we're controlling a tiny spaceship going through space using the mouse. This has a really nice physicality. You see these tips are coming up, kind of just appearing just in time. So at first we were told to thrust, and then only at the point when we actually needed to brake did the additional tip on how to brake show up. The game very cleverly introduces each of its concepts nice and slowly. So we've now docked with this spaceship, and we now get the controls that are relevant to walking around in a spaceship. The game uses scale in a pretty impressive manner. As you can see, we've kind of zoomed out from space, and now we've come all the way in to being on foot inside this spaceship. It slowly introduces things like the concept of your inventory, which you can add items to. It tells you how to pause the game. It really emphasises that pausing is important. It's quite interesting because it's not simply telling you the controls, it's also taking its time to teach you about strategy and tactics, which might otherwise not be very obvious to a new player. So we're taking out our first guy. Everything here is designed to be very easy. The chances of failure here are minimal, if at all. There's also lots of nice little obstacles in the way so that you can practice moving around, and you get the sense that you can take cover behind some of these walls and some of the objects that are inside rooms. It's directing us in a very, very hand-holdy way to move around and test out all these different things. It just illustrated through showing us how to use a gun that firing a gun gets the attention of the guards in the local area. We can now zoom in and check it out. We're going to take out this guy. We actually have our first choice here. We can use the gun, or we can use our face-breaking punchy thing. In this case I'll go for the punchy thing. There we go. Emphasising again how pause is really important, even though in this particular example it's pretty simple still. You can see there that the tip to use the mouse wheel to scroll, initially I used it to zoom in to see the action a bit more, which kind of made sense, and then you think, oh, I wonder if I can zoom out. And that's when you realise you can actually zoom all the way out of the spaceship and all the way out into space. So it's kind of introducing just the fundamental keys that you have to press and strategic methods that might not be particularly apparent to a new player, and it's showing you the scale at which this game is operating at. And we're barely into this, and we already have got through a huge number of the game's mechanics. And now it's telling us to throw yourself into space. This is kind of a Tom Francis thing where built into the tutorial itself is a lot of humour and wit and slight madness, which works really nicely because you don't feel like you're just having to remember and learn all this really dry mechanical stuff. Some games take so long teaching you exactly how every single little bit works and you're not really sure what the point is. Whereas with this, he manages to infuse the tutorial with a lot of character and charm and excitement and wit. And that really helps keep your attention as you're trying to learn all these new things. And the thing about Heat Signature is that there's quite a lot in it that doesn't really work like other games. For a start, it's not designed to use a controller at all. The entire interface is really heavily optimized to work with mouse and keyboard, which I'm not used to. I use a controller for almost everything these days. I use a Steam controller, and switching back to mouse and keyboard is kind of a novelty, but actually the game is so finely tuned to use those particular control mechanisms, it's extremely satisfying. So we've had a nice little intro there. This kind of feels like it's a scripted scene, but then we realise that no, actually this is still in the game, and we can still pause this and we're flying through space, but we're not really sure what the hell we're supposed to do until we're told to control our pod remotely. And so here it's kind of worked into the story, it's worked into this crazy, ridiculously huge scale intro, this really integral part which is controlling your ship so that you can pick yourself up from space. There's no actual threat here. Later on in the game, you have to pick yourself up from space within a certain amount of time, otherwise you're going to die. So the tension really ramps up. But the game very cleverly puts you in these situations where you get the concept without having to worry too much about failing. And a lot of Heat Signature's design appears to be around not wasting people's time, which I really appreciate because I don't have very much time to play games these days. And Heat Signature is a game you can play for 10 minutes and you'll get something out of it. It never punishes you, it very rarely kills you in an unfair way. You always have a chance to get out of it, and if you don't, you'll know why, and you'll know it's your fault, and it will probably be hilarious anyway. So that's about the first 5 minutes of the game up, and we've been shown how to fly a ship, we've been shown how to dock with other spaceships, how to roam about and explore the inside of spaceships, how to take out people using various weapons and pick up items, how to take over a ship. We've been shown how to eject ourselves into space and then pick ourselves up using our own dropship. Like, these are really high concept things that in other games, any one of those could be the main point of the game, and it might be something that they string out over a long period of time. Heat Signature doesn't wait to show you the cool stuff. It doesn't hold things back and force you to kind of go through the drudgery work before you get into the fun. The tutorial itself has all this crazy stuff in it, and from that point onwards the game only gets more and more exciting and ridiculous. So that's the first 5 minutes of Heat Signature. It's probably the most efficient first 5 minutes that I've covered in any of the videos I've done. It's intriguing, it's entertaining, it teaches you everything you need to know without it ever feeling like you're being taught. The tutorial actually carries on, there's some more stuff it teaches you and kind of gets into finer detail and more strategic stuff, but even just those first 5 minutes you immediately know whether this is the type of game for you or not. Okay, thank you for watching, and yeah, do check out Heat Signature. It's just come out and you can grab it on Steam and all the other usual suspects. Okay, thank you for watching, bye bye.